I am a child, the Neta of tomorrow, but I am not free. Not free to play, to go to school, to grow as I wish, because I have to go to work for my family. These are faces that we see all around us every day. At our own homes, at dhabas, at petrol pumps, at traffic crossings. We see them, ignore them, and carry on with our own lives. Children are the hope of tomorrow. They are the most important asset of any nation. If children are exposed to physical and mental hardships in their formative years, their natural growth is retarded. But the reality is that millions of children all over the world miss out on the joys of childhood because adult jobs and responsibilities are forced on them at a tender age. Child labor is different from child work. Children may learn skills under their parents, work for a short duration, have sufficient time for recreation and education. We can call this child work, and this is not harmful for a child's growth. What is child labor? When children are engaged in a work that is harmful for their physical, social, and emotional well-being, it is exploitative and deprives them of their right to health and education. It becomes child labor. It is child labor that we are concerned with because it hampers the physical and mental growth of the child. The Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act of 1986 defines a child worker as a person who is not yet 14 years of age. The number of working children below 14 years of age is an astounding 120 million around the world. And in India, it is estimated to be 11.28 million. More than 90% of these are concentrated in the rural areas and the rest in urban areas. In urban areas, children are engaged in roadside kiosks, hotels, petrol pumps, small dhabas, and families. An estimated 50,000 children, mostly girls, are engaged in match and fireworks industry. They bring light in the homes of many, but with no glimmer of light in their own lives. Approximately 20,000 children work in the stone quarries, carrying heavy stones to be crushed into chips. For these children, it is a never-ending monotonous grind. Their life trapped in a no-exit spin. They are victims of chronic lung diseases. An ocean to many is a scene of freedom, but to approximately 20,000 children engaged in fishing, it is a drudgery. For these children, it is a daily routine to struggle for a greater catch. It is the burden of adulthood they carry even when young. The catch arrives and peeling begins. Little girls, as young as 5 years old, turn professionals in the art of peeling prawns. Most of these are exported. Their wet, slippery fingers are constantly exposed to injuries. They contract infections, get fever, diarrhea, and vomiting. The reeling threads for weaving cloth on the looms is a bondage for approximately 20,000 children, causing injuries to their delicate fingers and toes. The colorful threads they reel will definitely not be used to cover the malnourished bodies of these small children. While smoking is hazardous for those who choose to smoke, there is no choice for the 20,000 children who laboriously roll bidis, inhaling the raw tobacco and being exposed to the hazardous effects of nicotine, earning only 6 to 10 rupees a day. Carrying molten glass, working near extremely high temperature furnaces is a constant threat to the child's life. Approximately 50,000 children face this threat every day to produce glittering glassware. There are several forms of child labor. Children working as casual workers both in agriculture and industrial production, as bonded laborers, and in hazardous and non-hazardous industries. We can find children working in all the three sectors of the economy: the agrarian, industrial, and service sectors. In the agrarian sector, the rural child may work as a migrant laborer, invisible laborer, bonded laborer. In the industrial sector, child workers consist of migrant labor, children working in family-based unit of different industries, invisible labor, wage-based labor, children working in extremely exploitative working conditions, self-employed children. Child workers in the service sector comprise self-employed workers, invisible workers, wage-based employees. Invisible child laborers work in the unorganized or informal sector. They work in the most hazardous conditions and constitute a major chunk of the child labor force of the country. Migrant child laborers migrate from the rural to the urban, or from smaller to larger cities, either with their families or alone. Bonded child laborers are pledged by their parents or guardians to employers in lieu of debts or payments. The phenomena of urban child labor includes street children, which belong to three broad categories: working children who have families but spend most of their time on the streets, working children who have left their families in the villages or towns and have migrated to the city. Abandoned children are working children who spend their lives on the streets without any kind of support and are hence the most exploited and abused of the street children. The involvement of a large number of children in work has serious socio-economic implications for the future of the society. How does it adversely affect society? It leads to an increase in labor supply, which in turn increases unemployment among adult workers. It makes labor cheap and depresses the general wage level. It weakens the physical, emotional, and intellectual faculties of children. In the long run, this will diminish the value of human resources of the society. It creates a vicious cycle of poverty. Child labor is a symptom and a cause of poverty. No upward economic mobility is possible for children who have joined the workforce at an early age and hence been deprived of formal education. When they grow up, they in turn are forced to send their children to work due to their poor economic conditions. This cycle continues and generation after generation of child labor are reproduced. Children working in hazardous occupations are exposed to various health and related risks. Those who work in the glass industry under high temperature constantly face the problem of dehydration. The brassware industry in Moradabad exposes children to tuberculosis. Child workers in the gem cutting and diamond polishing industry lose their sight because of excessive strain on their eyes. The causes of child labor can be classified into two main categories: supply-side factors and demand-side factors. The factors behind the parents' decision in sending their children to work instead of school comes under the category of supply-side factors. These are unemployment and poverty, illiteracy, limited options to education, preference of parents for training their children in traditional skills, gender discrimination, pushed out migration, social backwardness, macro-level government policies. Because the children are available for work, there are certain industries and occupations that prefer to use their labor over adults who are unemployed. The reasons for this preference constitute demand-side factors. The important demand-side factors that contribute to child labor are labor-intensive work, nimble fingers of children. They are docile, obedient, and cheaper in the market. Informalization of industries. Weak implementation of law. Because of these reasons, we find millions of our children at work when they should be going to school, playing, and preparing themselves to shoulder the future of the country. The use of child labor is a complete denial of all rights of children. Realizing the enormity of the situation, several steps have been taken by the government, non-governmental organizations, trade unions and institutions. The Government of India and state governments have taken up various measures and adopted new strategies to tackle the issue. These include the adoption of National Child Labour Policy 1987 that focuses on general development programs for the benefit of working children, formation of National Authority for Elimination of Child Labour, implementation of national child labour projects in the districts having high concentration of child labourers, and creation of National Resource Centre.
Child is an important human resource. It's a very precious human resource. Childhood represents the most tender, formative and impressionable stage of human development. The state, as the agent of the society, will have to adopt an integrated and holistic approach so that all children are treated as human resources and necessary conditions and opportunities are created for evolution, advancement and growth of this resource.
The elimination of child labour is an important agenda for international agencies like the UNICEF and ILO. UNICEF urges different national governments to adopt and pursue stronger policies to eliminate child labour and to promote compulsory primary education. It also closely works with other institutions like ILO, UNESCO, NLI, and NGO networks in the area of legislation and their enforcement. The ILO, by adopting Convention number 138, prescribed the minimum age for entry into employment. It addresses the problem of child labourers through various schemes and programs. The Supreme Court's landmark judgment on child labour in 1996 has activated law enforcement machinery to initiate action against the employers. In its other judgment on 4th February 1993, the court ordered that education be made a fundamental right. The contribution of the NGOs in the elimination of child labour is no less significant. NGOs adopt different strategies. Some NGOs are more involved in welfare activities, such as providing non-formal education, arranging health checkups, opportunities for vocational training. Other NGOs are involved in organizing campaigns for elimination of child labour. Some NGOs are promoting and advocating enforcement of compulsory primary education as an effective strategy for elimination of child labour. A few NGOs, like Butterflies, runs a full-fledged program for street children. Butterflies believes in the principle of democracy and community participation in decision-making. It ensures that children actively participate in all issues that are pertinent to them and plan future activities. Directed by the needs of the street children, Butterflies provides several services. It provides them with non-formal education organized at timings convenient to these children. The street educators themselves go to places where the children are available. To take care of the health needs of these vulnerable children, Butterflies has a mobile health van, which brings health services to the streets where the children are. They also learn how to prevent illnesses, maintain cleanliness and hygiene. Butterflies frequently organizes recreational and group activities for the street children to help them overcome fear and develop a trusting relationship. Picnics are a regular feature of Butterflies. As they taste the freedom from their daily struggle, joy and boundless energy is bursting forth from these children. The technical training program run by Butterflies has trained street youth to become mechanics, drivers and electricians. This training has helped many of them find jobs and stand on their feet with dignity. Today they are the architects of their own destiny. Butterflies has also set up a restaurant, a Butterflies restaurant, managed only by the adolescent street children. A special table is reserved here for them and they are served subsidized meals. Butterflies also motivates the children to save their earnings as a reserve for a sudden emergency. Butterflies runs a round-the-clock service called Childline, a toll-free telephone service which can be accessed by any child in need of any kind of help. The child caller is reached within a few minutes and appropriate assistance provided. Some of those who handle the Childline were once street kids themselves. Butterflies also provides an information line to street children, a vehicle for empowering street children with information relevant to their needs and situations on health, general knowledge, how to protect themselves from abuse and exploitation, and about their rights. It is a wallpaper called Bal Mazdoor Ki Awaaz, the voice of child workers, brought out by the Children's Editorial Board, and copies are stuck in those parts of the city where there are concentrations of street children. The subjects covered in the wallpaper range from child labor, sexual abuse, to educational issues and concerns relating to the lives and situations of these street children. It is a bi-monthly publication. Their real-life experiences and views are heard and put onto paper. The creative urge of these children is finding its true expression through this platform, provided to them by Butterflies.
Our philosophy is to protect children from exploitation and abuse, to respect children for who they are, to offer opportunities for their growth and development, to facilitate the participation of children in decisions regarding their lives, and most importantly, to defend children's rights. Our philosophy is also to work with government to influence their policies so that they become more progressive and sensitive to the needs of children, especially the vulnerable children.
Prayas Juvenile Aid Center, the first NGO to run a juvenile home in Delhi, has today emerged as a model organization, not only in the country, but even at the international level. It reaches out to thousands of hapless street and destitute children every day. Prayas believes that the basic needs and rights of a child are synonymous. Every child needs and has the right to adequate food, clothing, shelter, education, recreation, medical facilities, love, and care. True to its belief and commitment, Prayas runs shelter homes for children in the age group of 6 to 16 years. Once homeless and on the streets, these young girls have today found not only a comfortable home, but also friends to talk to and play with. As a part of its indoor healthcare program, wholesome and nutritious midday meals are provided to the children. It also provides specially designed non-formal education for these children. At present, it has 35 NFE centers. The NFE model is sensitive to the needs and interests of the child and adheres to the concept of joyful learning. It is highly flexible in terms of timings and curriculum. A child is educated in the NFE classes for a maximum period of 3 years and then mainstreamed into a regular school. A well-equipped library opens the fascinating world of books for these children. Like other privileged children, they too can enjoy the adventures of well-known characters from comic strips and other books for children. Prayas imparts vocational training in various trades, including cutting, tailoring, and screen printing. Young girls learn the art of cutting and stitching clothes from a helpful lady instructor. Engrossed in their pursuit, there is a feeling of satisfaction and a smile of anticipation on their innocent faces. Young boys are seen with their male instructor, learning the art of screen printing. This training will surely equip them for a bright future, while empowering them and building their self-confidence. They can now look forward to earning their livelihood with dignity and participate in nation building. Prayas has placement facilities for its vocational students and also arranges funds for those starting their own ventures.
We have a number of programs, like the normal programs, non-formal education, vocational training and all is there. But apart from that, there are a couple of very innovative programs that we have started. One is the program which is known as National Open School. All those children who have not been able to go to school for some reason or the other, and they have crossed the age of going to school. There is a program which is known as the National Open School, which is accreditation for which is given by the Ministry of HRD, and Prayas is one organization which has been given this accreditation by the government. So that is one very innovative program that we are running. The second program is the Rape Crisis Intervention Center. All these girl children who are working and they are subjected to worst forms of exploitation and abuse, for them we have started this center because they are in a state of complete trauma and they have no one to go back. Even their families feel that they have done something wrong, so they are not accepted by the society. So we take care of them, we place them in the shelter home, provide them support, care through counseling and through other measures.
These children playing and expressing their joy, they have a reason to smile. Prayas has returned them their childhood. Several state governments have initiated innovative approaches to address the issue of child labor in their own states. The story of how North Arcot district officials address the challenge of child labor in the district could be a direction that could be pursued by others. The program was flagged off by the collector in the presence of the Secretary Labour, Government of Tamil Nadu, and other officials on 13th April, Tamil New Year's Day. This was followed by an oath-taking ceremony where each one committed himself or herself to the elimination of child labor and for the enrollment of children in schools. The North Arcot district strategy recognized the close linkage between educators and child labor. The first activity initiated, therefore, was to motivate teachers so that they would contribute to making education joyful and attractive for the children. It was important that the teachers become more active, playing games and singing songs. Before launching the program for the elimination of child labor, it was important to know the extent and magnitude of the problem of child labor in the district. For this, a survey was conducted. Volunteers and government staff went from door to door, writing messages and putting up posters on the walls. They spoke to the young and old alike, asking specially designed questions to ascertain the extent of child labor in the district. A special procession was taken out for awareness generation regarding the ills of child labor. The highlight of the event was the participation of government staff in the procession. This human chain expresses the determined will and solidarity of the participants to eliminate child labor in the district. A revolving fund was initiated to help women resolve their financial difficulties. Women met to deposit their small savings for safekeeping or taking loans. All government schemes were converged as a strategy for the elimination of child labor. Women were given loans to initiate income-generating activities, such as buying Jersey cows for the sale of milk. Through the Indira Awas Yojana, low-cost houses were built for the poor people of the district. Laws against child labor that are usually not enforced were stringently enforced. Employers were made to sign bonds to the effect that they will not engage in child labor anymore. The joyful learning method of teaching made education attractive to children. The children who were engaged in work day in and day out were now learning and having fun. Mathematics through songs is indeed more fun. Once children were initiated into learning through non-formal education, they were then brought into the mainstream of formal education.
Our people have been thoroughly motivated and oriented. It will definitely go through. I don't think there will be any problem. All right, assuming that it is not sustainable, should we keep quiet? Does it mean that we should not do anything? I would like to highlight that when there is a right cause, it will go through. The resources will automatically flow. The people will automatically come to you. We have been seeing and we have been feeling in our district in the last 1 year when we started from scratch. Now we have come to such a level that we have developed so much of confidence that the scheme will automatically go through. Now I only would like to make one statement that no doubt the problem is insurmountable. It's a massive problem, social problem, multidimensional. That does not mean that we should keep quiet. Let us make a beginning somewhere. In our own district, there is child labor in hotel industry, in very many areas. We have chosen area. Let us make a beginning. If not the entire district, at least a taluk. If not a taluk, at least a village. If not a village, at least a street, at least a house.
These remarkable efforts on the part of the government, the non-governmental organizations, international agencies and the trade unions are slowly having an impact. It has brought the problems and sufferings of child laborers into focus in such a manner that we can no longer turn our faces away. These success stories shine like beacons of light for us to follow. This is a call to all NGOs, institutions, trade unions, social activists, self-help groups and volunteers. Let each one of us act in our own small way, wherever we are, to completely root out child labor from our country and let the sun of the new century shine on the millions of our working children. You can do it. You can nurture the seeds of today to secure the tree of tomorrow.